Food companies engineer food to make you overeat it. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. But if you guys will please click like down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you'll be kind enough to answer the question of how many of you totally recognize and understand this, that when you eat a lot of these manufactured hyperpalatable foods, it's really hard not to overeat them. And that's what we need to understand. Everyone talks about willpower and all the people with the flexible dieting and moderation. And, again, you see fitness influencers, you just have to have moderation, right? You just have to have self-control with these foods. And they're like, and you can eat them. But it's like the idea that we need to try to work foods in, and that somehow is a discipline issue when we have an entire area of science dedicated to making foods hyperpalatable. Do people understand this? All this junk food that we eat, all the various chips and snacks and cakes and treats and pies and ice creams, everything that we eat is literally engineered by food scientists and biologists who food companies hire to say, hey, how can we make people crave and eat more of our food? Okay, and hopefully people are grasping this. This food, all these things that are being sold as food, they're engineered that way. And it's not I don't believe it's some grand conspiracy theory, like nothing like that. I'm not saying it's them trying to do this to you. No, it is purely a profitable thing. And when you understand that companies are simply there to make money. These companies exist to make money, supply and demand, and they produce products, and they literally go out of their way competing with each other to engineer products for people who want treats and snack foods and all this stuff, to engineer products to where you want to eat more of their food. Okay, it's simple supply and demand economics. And the only way it ends is when everyone removes themselves from the supply and the demand. And they say, well, look, I still want to eat junk food, guys. How about I just eat whole foods? Why don't I eat chicken and rice and vegetables and nuts and fruit and, dairy and meats and, right, all this stuff, right? When we make that position, say, I'm just going to eat actual real food, single ingredient foods, and then you remove yourself from this whole situation completely. So this is why I have a problem with the whole, you're denying yourself. No, you're not denying yourself. You're denying yourself eating foods that are literally engineered by scientists to be addictive for these companies. And here's how a lot of they do it. All right, you understand with hyperpalatability, what we're dealing with is dopamine response. You have three major taste receptors that when multiple of them are triggered at the same time, it creates hyperpalatability. You ready for them? Salty, fatty, sweet. So anytime you combine any two of those three, or all three, guess what happens? Makes you hungry, makes you want to eat it. It's delicious. So stop and think about this. So anytime these things are combined together, and it's usually going to be the fatty combined with one of the other two. So think of all the foods that people binge on and crave, the easy ones before we get into the really engineered stuff, right? Candies and cakes and things. But stop and think about it. Pizza. Perfect example. Think about everything that's in a pizza. You think of that savory taste, right? What is it? It's fatty. There's all that grease and fat. It's all the cheese, all the oils, right? Fatty. And then salty. There's tons of salt in the cheese, tons of salt in the sauce. No such thing as a low salt pizza. It wouldn't taste like pizza. Okay? French fries. Same thing. Fatty, so it's fried in oils of some type, fried in fats, and then salt is added, lots of salt, fatty and salty. And you're going to crave it. Technically a cheeseburger, kind of the same way. All right. How about sweet plus fatty? How about ice cream? Okay. Got all that milk fat. How about a milkshake? Same thing. And then refined sugars added. Super sweet, super fatty, all together. Because really that's what all the ice creams and stuff are, right? They're not just sweet. There's fat added. Because you all know, if you get totally fat-free ice cream, does it taste the same? No. It still tastes pretty good, but you're not going to crave it the same. All right, so you have all this stuff added together. That also creates calorie density. Anytime you have the fat is calorie dense. You combine either the one with it, we now have hyperpalatability combined with calorie density. particularly when we throw the sweet with it. Refined sugars, high calorie density, not as high as fat, but it's still, they stack together. Okay? So when you think of all these treats, it's like, well, yeah, this stuff's all really easy to overeat. It's all really easy to get fat on, right? Because that's our survival mechanisms. Those are the foods that we crave to survive famines, ice ages, all this stuff, right? These are the foods that get us through this so that we gain weight historically, so that we don't starve during the next time of lean, right? So during times of plenty, we will overeat the stuff that makes us gain fat. Because our ancestors didn't have access to it year round, they never really got fat. Okay? But we will, because we have unlimited access, and that's the idea. So that's even with these sort of foods. Anytime we combine these things together, creates hyperpalatability, and you combine it with calorie density, what happens? That's what happens. All right, but what happens when you look at even other stuff? How about a soda? Stop and think about the engineering. This is old school. This is before you get to the modern stuff. Really more advanced. Right? With all the other chemicals and things added in. This is older school. How about just regular soda, Coca-Cola? What's going on there? Okay, we got sweet, super, super sweet, right? It used to be table sugar, then they went to high-fructose corn syrup, which is slightly sweeter. You combine all that, these sweeteners, and then what do? They throw salt in. They throw a little bit of salt, a little bit of sodium, a little bit of potassium. Why? That extra wang makes you want to drink more. Plus, it makes you thirsty. Right? And normally when we get salts in, we want to drink more water. It keeps us hydrated. This is a good thing. Like sodium is great for hydration. We'll drink more water. We get plenty of electrolytes. But what happens when the stuff we're drinking is full of sugar? Well, then we're going to drink more of the soda. It's going to make us thirsty. This is a brilliant combination if your goal is to sell more of a product. Because normally if we just make this stuff salty, we'll just drink more water, right? We'll drink more water, we'll be fine. But now we're just going to drink more of the soda. Okay, this is going back decades ago. Now we get to the modern stuff to where there's all these flavor enhancers, right? All these massive amounts of artificial flavors added on top of all this other stuff. This stuff, all these foods are scientifically engineered to make you overeat them. And then people have the audacity you just need to work them into your treats. And it's a lack of discipline. No, it's not. You need to just not eat these things. Like if you're one of the people who can't just easily moderate all these heavily engineered foods, you're better off not eating them. Just avoid them. Your life is going to be so much better, right? Right? It's going to be so much better. So, again, simply avoid them. Problem solve, problem go away. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.